Hi folks, Dan Gunther here, bringing you another week in Trek, and boy, it's a big one. First of all, a lot of big Star Trek news this past weekend out of the San Diego Comic-Con. The biggest of which, of course, is the unveiling of the new television series Star Trek Discovery, as well as our first glimpse at the ship from that series. If you haven't already seen my video on the subject, click here to check that out. I share some of my thoughts about the design of the ship and where we hope to see the series go in the future. As a bit of follow-up to that big news, we found out that the ship design from that video is not in fact finalized. This is just a preliminary look at one direction that the ship might be going in, so there is still a possibility that the ship in Star Trek Discovery may look quite different than what we see here. The rendering shown at the Comic-Con was in fact only thrown together in 3 weeks, so it is definitely far from a finished product. There will be, of course, much more news about the series in the coming weeks. Stay tuned for that. Another surprise reveal at the San Diego Comic-Con was the announcement of an exciting Blu-ray coming later this year. Star Trek: The Roddenberry Vault, revealing lost Star Trek clips and really interesting behind-the-scenes stuff from the original series. The Blu-ray will feature a ton of behind-the-scenes clips, deleted scenes, documentaries, and a number of episodes from the original series that are especially pertinent to the subject of the Blu-ray. I've included a link in the description to the full press release on trekcore.com. Be sure to check that out. Although Star Trek Beyond just opened this past weekend, we've already learned a little bit about the home video release. Just as one special edition of Star Trek Into Darkness came with a model phaser, one exclusive release of Star Trek Beyond will feature a stunning model of the USS Franklin featured in the film. The film itself will get a number of releases, including a few retailer-specific exclusives. We'll have more news on the various releases as they are known. In the meantime, I have a link to the Trek Collective where they showcase a number of the releases as well as some of the international releases that Star Trek Beyond will be seeing. And finally, a subject that's near and dear to my heart, Star Trek model kits. Moebius Models, maker of some very great Battlestar Galactica kits that I love, had a booth at the San Diego Comic-Con where they showed off their plans for the coming year of Star Trek models. The model kits they plan to release include the USS Enterprise from Star Trek Beyond, the USS Kelvin from the 2009 Star Trek film, as well as Spock's jellyfish ship from that same film, and the USS Franklin from the recent Star Trek Beyond. Look for these models to begin hitting shelves in 2017. I've included a link to the Trek Collective showcasing the Moebius Models booth at SDCC.
Hey, wait a minute. That's the book.
I know, it's a book.
The book. They left it. The other ship, the Horizon.
This is the contamination, Captain. Astonishing. An entire culture based on this.
You said they were imitative in the book. I don't want any more cracks about the book.
Did they leave?
This past weekend, the 2016 winners of the Scribe Awards were announced. Among the winners are some of Star Trek's very own Treklit writers, including Dayton Ward for his novel Armageddon's Arrow, a Star Trek The Next Generation novel that came out earlier this year. Also winning a Scribe Award was David Mack for his novel 24 Rogue. I'll post a link to Dayton Ward's blog in which he has a list of all of the winners in the various categories. Brand new out this week is David Mack's entry in the Legacies trilogy, Book 2, Best Defense. Look for that on bookstore shelves everywhere, as well as your favorite online ebook retailers. The blog Some Kind of Star Trek features an interview with David Mack this week. I'll post a link to that in the description. Check it out, some interesting behind-the-scenes notes on his book, as well as what he has coming out in the future. On the Literary Treks podcast this week, episode 156, in which we discuss Paula M. Block and Terry J. Erdman's new ebook novella, The Rules of Accusation. Included in this episode is a special interview that I managed to get with them at the Shore Leave convention. Be sure to check that out, links in the description. My name is Dan Gunther, and among other things, online I have a website, www.treklit.com, where I review Star Trek novels, both old and new. I also co-host the Literary Treks podcast with Matthew Rushing and Bruce Gibson, in which we talk about the world of Star Trek books and comics. Be sure to check out some of the other videos on this channel, including episode reviews, Star Trek product reviews, and videos about all corners of the Star Trek universe and beyond.